The new date just revealed for when the next stimulus package needs to be passed. Also, some shocking information on stimulus checks. I have all the details for you in this video. Let's get into it right away. But if you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe by hitting that button right down below the video. It's totally free to do so, and so I can keep you updated each and every day during this very busy time as information continues to change very, very rapidly. I'm doing all the research so that you don't need to, and I break it down into these short videos. So again, if you haven't done so, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss any updates going forward during this very, very busy time. All right, thanks again. Let's jump right into the video. All right, so first off, let me quickly walk you through some really shocking information that was just released by the IRS and Treasury in regards to stimulus checks. All right, so remember about a year ago, the $1,400 stimulus checks were passed through Congress, signed into law by the president, and they started going out anywhere between about mid-March through early April time is when those $1,400 checks were going out. Well, at this point, we'd assume that they went out to everybody, right? Well, no. In fact, they did not go out to everybody. In fact, there are still hundreds of thousands of people, nearly millions of people that are still waiting for these payments, even a year later. Yeah, this is still true. Check this out. So as of now, there's still 644,000 people that have not claimed their $1,400 stimulus check from last year. So by the way, if you did not get your $1,400 from last year, I'd highly recommend you might want to look into that, because if you are eligible, you can still get that money. However, one quick disclaimer about that. This is the information right out of the IRS, which is if you did not get the money, you need to file a tax return in order to claim it. By the way, this is not accounting advice, and this is not tax advice in any way at all, but rather that is what the IRS said. The only way to get it now is by filing a tax return. Also, at the same time, even with those 644,000 people that are still waiting for their payment, there's another 294,000 people that are still eligible for them as well, on top of the 644,000 for those people who maybe had a little bit of a change to their situation, or maybe their accounting changed, therefore, which made them eligible for the payments going forward. So as you can see there, about 1 million people still eligible for the payments. Now, all of that totals $1.6 billion of payments that still need to go out the door. However, here's what's interesting. Within the same report, they also said that 1.2 million people wrongly received the $1,400 stimulus check, which also totals $1.9 billion. So on one hand, they have $1.6 billion waiting to go out the door, and they have $1.9 billion that went out the door, and they said, whoops, it shouldn't have gone out the door. Uh-oh. So kind of funny how that works, right? It always seems like there's more that they need to reclaim than what there is to actually go out the door. So I don't know. Anyway, just an extra little report here that I found for you, and I thought it was very interesting that there's a lot of people out there still waiting for those payments. So again, if you haven't received it yet, please check it out, because you may have some money coming to you that you may not even recognize quite yet. Also, I want to point this out as well, because this is actually something very encouraging here that I've been reading over the last couple of days, and I want to point this out for you in regards to all these different stimulus proposals, the check programs, the vouchers, direct payments, all these different programs that we've been talking about here over the last couple of weeks. There's actually some very encouraging things floating around out there that I want to point out for you once again in this video. Here's what they're saying. They're saying essentially, with everything going on right now, the likelihood of some type of direct payment or stimulus check is actually very highly likely. Yeah, that's what I've been reading with a lot of these reports out there right now in regards to all of these heightened prices out there on gas and essentially everything. We all know what we're talking about. Literally everything is more expensive these days. But what I've been reading about this, and again, this is just what the people are saying out there. Again, I don't really know what's actually going to happen. Only time will tell what Congress actually does. But a lot of people out there right now that are reporting on these direct payments, stimulus checks, tax rebates, voucher programs, they're essentially saying the likelihood of one of these types of programs actually coming through and relief getting out to the low income and those people that are struggling right now is actually very high. So I wish we had a crystal ball to see into the future, to see what we could actually be getting here at some point, but they're actually anticipating the likelihood of something like this actually happening is a pretty good likelihood. So again, it's pretty encouraging, but at the same time, we won't actually have any proof of anything until we get a substantial proposal out of Congress and they start working their way through the legislative process and, of course, working their way through this thing to actually get it passed. But then again, The main question would be, okay, is it going to be a stimulus check? Is it going to be a voucher type program? Is it going to be a prepaid debit card type program? What kind of program could it possibly be going forward? Again, we don't have those details quite yet, but as of now, there's about 7 or 8 different proposals on the table within Congress right now to get some type of relief out to the people. Again, as I always say, as I do get more information, of course, I'll bring that to you, but I find it to be very encouraging as I read through all these reports. There's a lot of reports out there right now talking about all these different proposals and packages, things like this, and they're saying, hey, it's looking pretty good. The likelihood of something coming is probably pretty high. Now, again, we have no clue. I have no clue. I cannot promise you anything. I'm not going to speak for Congress to say yes or no at this point because honestly, I think all of us know how that goes, right? But anyway, with that being said, let me talk you through the new timeline and the dates in which that have just been laid out by Joe Manchin. Yes, one of the very influential senators on the Democratic side. He has just laid out some new dates in which the next stimulus package must be passed by, or I should more likely say, in his vision, it needs to be passed by this timeline. Now, again, this is out a few months from right now, but I want to point this out for you because we need to keep an eye on everything right now because realistically, we've got a lot going on out there, and we also know that the midterm elections are coming up a little bit later this year, but realistically, we all recognize at this point, after watching this stuff for over 2 years now, it's a very slow process. Whatever Congress takes on, it's a very slow process. They're really good at taking as much time as they possibly can to get virtually anything done. So anyway, Joe Manchin was out indicating that he is working with some of his Democratic colleagues on working on the next stimulus package. Yeah, so he was the one that actually apparently reached out to his Democratic colleagues and restarted talks on the next stimulus package. Now, I can tell you this much. It is going to be a much smaller bill than the $1.75 trillion bill that we were previously talking about, which was the Build Back Better agenda, and the $2.2 trillion House version of the Build Back Better agenda. I can guarantee you it's going to be a lot smaller than that. We know that for a fact. How much? Not really sure. Maybe $1 trillion, maybe $500 billion, maybe $700 billion. Not really sure. All that we know is it is going to be significantly less than the $1.75 or even $2.2 trillion package. However, Joe Manchin, apparently, according to what I just read about this, is apparently working with Democratic colleagues on restarting negotiations on this, and he has drawn a line in the sand that they need to get this package passed by the August recess. So as we all know, usually about the first week in August, usually they work about 1 week in August and then they leave for about 5 weeks through the rest of August and then into early September, and they usually return after Labor Day. So that's about 4 to 5 weeks that they are gone. So as we know, that is a very long summer recess. They're gone. And actually the last couple of years here, they've actually been extending it and they've been working an extra week. Now, should we take our hats off to them and feel like we should give them a pat on the back? Well, I don't really think so because clearly they haven't gotten their work done before they leave. But again, over the last couple of years here, they typically have been staying an extra week or so, or at least a few more days and getting a little bit of work done. But anyway, Joe Manchin has essentially drawn a line in the sand and said, we need to get the next package passed by the August recess. Now again, like I said, I know that's a few months from now, but realistically, it's not that many months from now. We've got April, May, June, July. That's it, right? We've got like 4 months to go until they're gone. Wow. I mean, now that I just laid that out there right now, it's like, whoa, summer is like upon us and it's going to be gone kind of quick, right? It comes and goes really fast. But seriously, they do not have much time. And we know that the legislative process takes a very long time, especially as they continue working their way through it. All the negotiations, the back and forth between the House and the Senate, and all the different opinions on these packages. Now, this is likely going to be the next reconciliation bill, which again could contain another stimulus check or any of these direct payments or anything else that we've been talking about throughout all these videos, as well as what I just described here just a minute ago, saying it's very encouraging to see all of this going forward in regards to direct payments or stimulus checks, and people saying that there is a high likelihood. So this next reconciliation bill is likely where something like this would be contained, or it could always be done through executive order if the president just so decided to do so. So again, we've got a lot to watch here, but either way, we can cross our fingers that hopefully they will get something done way before August, but that is kind of like the kind of the line in the sand that Joe Manchin has said it's got to be done before then. So again, we've seen this before. We've seen lines drawn in the sand, and again, sometimes it's done before then, and sometimes we just blow right on past the deadline and nothing gets done. But there's a lot going on here over the next couple months. Either way, I'll continue to keep you posted. There's a lot going on right now in regards to talks on stimulus checks, packages, direct checks, tax rebates, tax credits, all kinds of things like this. And I do think it is actually very encouraging. So anyway, as I do get more information on any of this, of course, I'll break it all down into these short videos for you and to help you out in any way that I possibly can. So again, make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so. Share this video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other 2,300 videos right here on the channel. Enjoy your day, stay safe out there, and I hope this one helps you out. I will catch you again later in the next video. Thanks again. I'll see you soon.